So she gave me enough confidence to basically move into an apartment of my own instead of squat. So I moved in with a bass player from Dorm Life, not the one who got lost on tour. That was just our touring bass player. With Phil, that was a big confidence booster. And before you know it, 6 months into the relationship, I proposed. And I proposed on that same street, Riverside Drive, in front of the restaurant that we met at, which had just burned down the day before from arson.
Wow. Way to pick a romantic spot there, Sam.
It was meaningful.
Yeah, definitely meaningful. From the ashes rise the phoenix.
Oh gosh, I knew you were going to go there.
The
So,
phoenix of love.
some of my friends thought I was crazy, but most of them were like, yeah, man, that's cool. You can get married. That's legit. And so I mixed the Boom Juice album. We were about done with that by that point, and I was taking that kind of seriously. We got married. See, the day we got married, I wasn't nervous to get married at all until I put the tux on. In the childhood park right next to Riverside Drive that I grew up in, that apartment where I lived. That's where we got married, in this little park. And I was fine until I put that tux on. I was like, this is real. Like, oh my gosh, like this is like forever. And I wasn't scared to be with her forever, but it was just, this is actually my wedding day. Like, it sunk in once the tux is on and I'm looking in the mirror like, oh my goodness. And all my friends are laughing behind me putting on their, suit or their tuxes or whatever. That was one of the most magical days ever. Truly, like we mentioned in your testimony, like you're a boy and then you're a man, right? But there's like an in-between stage.
Yeah, this point where.
And I would call myself a guy. I was just a guy. Mm-hmm. And that's a very general term, but I was not a grown up at all. Mm-hmm. I was very immature. I did a lot of stupid things. And I really think that my wife really kicked me into high gear. Mm-hmm. Really shaped me up. And it didn't happen overnight. It's still happening every day of my life. After our honeymoon, we found an apartment and we moved to like a closer suburb to Chicago. I didn't want her to live in Chicago. Mm-hmm. We were pinching pennies, paycheck to paycheck. And it was interesting because I was doing Boom Juice at the time, and my bandmate, it took some adjustment for him because he was with his girlfriend longer than I was with Mandy, but they had lived together like the entire relationship, And he'd be like, yo, he's like, marriage is just paper, man. So a lot of my friends will just have that kind of mindset, and I'm like, no, like this is a commitment. It's more, it's a covenant. It's not something to be taken lightly at all. And it's not just a piece of paper. So I was scheduling everything around her, whereas he didn't really. I'm not insulting him, but he didn't really schedule anything around his girlfriend. You know what I mean? If he's gonna do something, he's gonna do something. So I took the Boom Juice thing very seriously. We did 2 more EPs. The last EP we did was a mixtape style. We took other people's instrumentals, which we always composed our own stuff on the first 2 releases, but we took other instrumentals and we wrote our own lyrics over their instrumentals. We decided, hey, we'll do a free download deal, see if that'll get us some heat or whatever. And so he picked all these artists out, and he picked a song by a group called Orange Factory. The song was called To Sleep to Dream. We didn't change any of the titles of the songs. We just tried to keep the lyrics kind of relating to the titles if we could, and if we couldn't, we expounded on our own idea. But this song by Orange Factory is called To Sleep to Dream, and in parentheses, I called it Oh My Lord. I was really, really depressed by this point because I had been working the messenger job for a long time at U.S. Legal, didn't get any raise. We were living paycheck to paycheck. And, it's starting to sink in,
do I really want to do this the rest of my life?
Well, you remember, the adjustments of getting married, living together, and I hadn't done that before.
Yep.
So you got all that, too, and then you're trying to do all the stuff you want to do on top of it. And then I wanted to make a living at music, and I was finding it very difficult. And anything I would do wouldn't work. So we made this EP, and I was so bummed. There were days where you'd think I was like bipolar or I was like manic or something. I know I'm not, but I was low, dude. And I think God was really working in me. He was allowing me to get down to the low to come back to his arms. You know what I'm saying? So this song, was a prayer. Now, when I started writing it, the intention was for my friend Sean. He was in a band called Empires. Actually, they just signed to Island Records. I'm not like tight with him anymore, but they just played very recently on David Letterman.
The next guests are a rock and roll band from Chicago. They got a new EP. It's entitled How Good Does It Feel? They're making their network television debut with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Empires.
But he was supposed to sing the second verse to this song and the chorus with me. So like it was like a switch off deal. The chorus is just "Oh My Lord." But I'm going to read this for everybody because I'm going to close out this episode with this song playing so everybody can hear it. I was really down, and this is literally me pouring out everything at the time out to God. And I didn't even know who God was. I didn't know which God or what. You know, I knew I was raised with Jesus, and that's what I believed for so long, but I was the prodigal son, you know? So here it goes. Forgive me, Father, for I fear I've fallen in too deep. Fact is, I am far from floating from these flooded streets. Faith, it fails to fill me, future's fading further south. Philosophy won't free my soul, so Lord, please hear me out, oh my Lord. Sorry, seems I'm set in every shallow phrase I state. Story is, I'm short of changing any time today. Shame, it slowly suffocates me, shovels me in earth. Statistics still won't save my soul, so show me what I'm worth, oh my Lord. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but I knew I was calling out to God. And I just wanted something. I just wanted a change. Just show me what I'm worth. I'm worthless right now. What do I mean? I don't feel like I'm serving any purpose. I'm so I just said it. I'm selfish. I poured it all out, and so we made that mixtape, and not even like a month after we made that, I get a call from Dan Precision, who's the guy who we were mixing all of our EPs with, or all our Boom Juice stuff with, and he was in the band Rise Against. Before they hit it big, he was on their first record on Fat Records. He was also in some other bands that I really liked from Chicago. He asked me to try out to be in his new band. There was no band. It was just a bunch of demos that he made himself. But he's like, yeah, you want to just try it? Take 2 songs and write some vocals and some lyrics to them. And if I like them, then maybe we could do this. And he was trying out other singers too, some notable singers from punk bands. But I'm not a punk singer. I'm like more of a soul singer. I'm like more of like I don't know what I am, pop singer. So I tried it, and never has anything come together so quickly as that experience. I wrote 10 songs and recorded 10 demos with him in like a month. I mean, it was crazy. But if I were to read those lyrics to you, and I won't, like, honestly, I am a liar.
Honestly, I am a liar, for I lie my head in shame. Makes no difference what the price I paid for. I owe you just the same, just the same. The water that I'm drinking got me fighting deep inside and close my eyes. And that's words could kill me, so I'll sing before I swim out of disguise. If I give up, then I go down, and death becomes the life I never had. So maybe this is my final chance to reconcile my blood is cold.
titles like that, I was down, dude. You can just tell from that, right? There was no hope in what I was writing. And one day I'll probably release those demos, somewhere. I don't know how, but basically I was going to be in this band with Dan. We were looking for drummers and bass players, and we were going to start this band called Exit Flames. Yeah, we were going to tour, do like 250 plus shows a year. That was the goal. And my wife thought it was cool, but at the same time was like, this kind of sucks, because like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go with you? And I was like, I don't know. This is like my dream. My wife is, I think, a very selfless person, in my opinion. I mean, I guess technically, nobody's technically selfless. I mean, Christ is selfless. But she does think about others before herself a lot, and to her own detriment a lot of times. And I think that has a lot to do with like her rough home situation. But she was prepared, I think, to go to school and let me go do my thing. I knew that was going to bring a huge strain on our marriage. And who knows how much further away from God I would have gotten. But so just as Dan and I are gearing up to kind of like record a record and get a studio band together and then like do it, I get a call from my mom one day. She says, your uncle who owns the campground, he might be interested in hiring you and Mandy as managers of the campground if you're interested. And I laughed. I was like, are you kidding? What do I know about a campground? Like, and aren't campgrounds only open like half the year, especially in like, a place like that? So like, what am I going to do the other half of the year for money? And it's just like the first thoughts that are flying through my mind. And she's like, no, hear me out. It's like a legitimate career. It would be a career opportunity. It wouldn't be just a
job.
A job.
Yep.
I was like, well, I can't really argue with that right now, since nothing I have is that concrete.
Right.
Even though I'm going to be in this band with Dan Precision. So she's like, all right, give your uncle a call. So she gives me my uncle's number. You have to also know that I never knew my uncle. I briefly met him when I was a kid, but I didn't know him. He was the one I knew the least out of all my uncles and aunts. So it was an interesting predicament. And so I called him, we scheduled a flight, and we left for New York for 2 days. And the first thing he says to me when we get into the van, as he picks us up in Buffalo, he says, Sam, I think that you might be the right person for this job. I don't know that, but you have been doing music for, 10 years now? You know what's more important to me than a college degree? What's more important to me is passion. So many people go throughout their lives without having a passion. And they just do things just to get by. And I think you could fit in here. And it was just like, it was like almost a redemption to a degree. Like, somebody actually believes in me. Not that nobody believed in me, but like to like take me on, and I don't even know how to like disassemble like a door. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any mechanical skills whatsoever. Sorry, what?
What time of the year was this?
This was October, like the third week of October.
So colder weather.
2010.
Leaves off the trees.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, as you're describing it, I was actually thinking like Buffalo, maybe some flurries in the air, kind of cold day, getting into the car with your uncle, and but then you said redemption, and I don't know, I just had like this like warm picture in my head. Like, sorry, the way you described it was kind of neat, but go ahead.